Good evening and welcome to the Mill Creek Township Municipal Building and the monthly Planning Commission meeting. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting of February 3rd, 2026 to order. If everybody can stand and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everybody can make sure they signed in at the attendance sheet next to the door. At this time, I'd like to introduce the members of the Planning Committee. We have Ray Reed, Tony Sitter, Matt Fugate, Doug Prozan, and Gene Strohmeyer. Behind me is Julie Maggio, Matt Puz, Matt Waldinger, and Denise Herniason.
It's David.
Oh, what did I say? Matt. Oh, could you be Dave today? Or could you be Matt today? I'm flexible. Before we begin, I'd like to call a motion to accept the meetings, or the minutes of the last month's meetings.
So moved.
Second.
The Mill Creek Planning Commission is a recommending body that
Mr.
hears
Chairman?
testimony.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
could we take a vote on the minutes, please?
Oh, yes.
Thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay.
Excuse him, it's his first day on the job.
Yeah, this is a learning process. The Mill Creek Planning Commission is a recommending body that hears testimony, asks and answers questions, and deliberates and passes our recommendation on to the Mill Creek supervisors, who make the final decisions on the issues brought before us. The subdivision and/or land development discussed tonight, if acted upon by the Planning Committee, will be considered by the Township supervisors at their regular meeting to be held on Tuesday, February 24th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Township Assembly Room. The rezoning discussed tonight, if acted upon by the Planning Committee, will be considered by the Township at the regular meeting held on Tuesday, March 10th, 2026 at 9:30 in the Township Assembly Room. In order to keep the flow of information and not have the meeting run on unnecessarily long, I ask that everyone who wishes to speak for or against an issue to come up here to the podium, state your name, address for the record. And I may also make it a point that if anybody has mentioned something, just not to repeat the same thing over and over again. It is necessary for all of us to be recognized and speak, as the commission will consider all testimony. Subdivision and land development. The land development plan for KDP Lot 2, LLC Phase 2 Land Development Plan. A land development plan to show the construction of a 2,500 square foot office building for professional services at 5008 West Ridge Road, with associated parking and stormwater management facilities along the north line of West Ridge Road, east of Wegmans Drive in Track 313. Is somebody here to speak on that?
Good evening, I'm Matthew Baldwin from Baldwin Brothers, here for KDP Lot 2 LLC. I'd first like to make a clarification. Matt Puz did provide a clarification today that this office is going to be a medical office. We've been using medical office, and he made a clarification that's, as the definition goes in your zoning ordinance, it's not professional office, it's actually a clinic. So Matt can elaborate on that, but I just want to make sure for the record that you know it's a medical office. You can call it tomato, whatever you'd like. So this is for a site that's adjacent to the new Chipotle that we just constructed, which is going to open soon, supposedly around February 10th. And it's the remaining portion of the parcel that basically 5,000 through 5,008 West Ridge Road. It's on Wegmans Drive is where the entrance is. So we hope to be able to construct that starting in the spring. You'll notice there's plenty of parking on the site. We did get a variance for the parking that's shown there. No one likes to go to a doctor's office and not be able to have the parking they need from physicians and nurses and staff and show up and you can't find a space. So we have the adequate parking now. So we're opening, hopefully going to open by the end of fall this year if we can get everything done and in order. If you have any questions, happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are you allowed to tell us what
I
kind of
can't
clinic?
tell you exactly who it is, Doug, but I could say medical office.
But you're gonna be the land, you're gonna own it, they're gonna rent it?
Yes, just like the Chipotle. It'll be a nice building when I get
tried.
done. That's a good try. Any questions? Other questions? Great, I hope you guys like the Chipotle down there. We're trying to finish this up and move on to something else. Great, thank you.
Dave, your mic's not on. Oh, on purpose. Correct. Do we have anybody else to speak for or against? All right, let's move on to the second one. A land development plan for Purvis Industries. A land development plan to show you the construction of a 26,250 square foot building for warehousing and light industry located on the southwest intersection of West 15th Street and Pittsburgh Avenue with associated parking, stormwater management facilities. Is somebody here to address this?
My name is Adam Honey. I work for David Laird Associates, the civil engineering firm that's working on the land development plans for the project. Like you said, it's a land development plan for a 26,250 plus or minus square foot warehouse and light manufacturing building. So I don't know if you guys have any, questions specific to the plan. I've gone back and forth with Matt a couple times. I think I hopefully answered all the questions that you've got, at least for right now.
Anybody have anything?
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else to speak on this? Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Chris Pileggi. I'm with Morse Coupling Company, 2240 West 15th Street. We're directly across from the parcel of land that's it's going to be developed. Reason for being here today, I just want to comment on flooding of Cascade Creek and ask the commission to ensure that there's a sufficient stormwater management plan in place with respect to the construction project on the southwest intersection of Pittsburgh and 15th. Property sits, like I said, directly across from our facility. We've had a number of incidences of flooding over the years, August 2016, July 2017, September 2017. We've had to have carpets replaced, wallboard, because of flooding that came across from the south side of the street. And then we've invested a lot of capital into our facility to mitigate that, which has been helpful. But we've also had flooding from the south side too. There's seems to be obstruction downstream from our building of the adjacent property behind us. I've had numerous interactions with Mill Creek Township dating back to October 2020. And I've got, and I can give these to you, multiple photos and things like that. And I guess the reason for being here just is to ensure that there's a good plan in place to not increase the flow of water into our facility, but to hopefully mitigate it and alleviate some of the problems that we've been having.
Thank you.
It actually should help you.
Do you think? Okay, that's great.
Because all the water now will stay on that property.
That's wonderful. And that's really the sole reason that we wanted to come today, just to ensure that's being thought through and,
I would ask if you could address the question just of what some specifics of what the plan is, of where, how the water is going to be.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
all right, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I know it's hard to see from there, but there's a subsurface stormwater management system here that the site, the building, and the parking lots are all routed to go to that and infiltrate and then discharge to this catch basin out here at the intersection of Pittsburgh and 15th at a rate lower than what the existing runoff rate is leaving the site. So we have our stormwater management plans turned in to GPI for their review, and we're just awaiting comment on that. But that is in general the plan, a subsurface infiltration basin underneath the parking lot.
So instead of water currently running off of it, you're actually reducing hopefully the amount of water.
Yeah, so have catch basins all throughout the parking lot and on the site to capture the stormwater and decrease the rate and meet all the township's stormwater requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any requirements when doing new construction of like an industrial building such as this to do? I know we got one side, it's basically all Mill Creek. So like, what happens on the
along the frontage of both 15th Street and Pittsburgh Avenue across the frontage of the properties. As far as plantings, Matt, I don't know if you'd probably be better to speak on those.
Yes, thank you. Regarding plantings, they're required to put in what's called buffer C. It's basically I believe it's a 7-foot buffer with trees and bushes along the parking lot, so to make it a little softer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed like some of the new construction around Peninsula Drive and things like that, gas stations for the most part, like, and even the restaurants, like some landscaping is required, and it's good to see that happening. We have a strong vision for the future of 15th to 16th Street. It is becoming such a popular corridor with Giant Eagle. You've got Sinai Sports. We have a lot of Plaza Strip businesses, small businesses. Our business, throughout the month, we will have 1,000 routine 2 to 3 times per week users coming in and out of Fitness U. And, I was here tonight because I didn't really quite know what was going to happen. We have a sign, we have a marquee on the corner, and gotten some information tonight that we can keep moving forward with beautification processes of the sign. So it's a good landmark identifier of what businesses are from the Pittsburgh Avenue to Peninsula Drive Pass. But we've got a really good potential to continue this process, and it's encouraging to see, a distribution location office like this moving onto that corner. I only hope, and this is a hope, I'm not being a stickler or anything, when the U-Haul built the huge white building, when you're looking down 15th Street on your way to Pittsburgh Avenue, there's this big white building, and it's used to be nothing there, but now it's just a big white building. It's ugly. And, industrial is nice. It's good to have people working and industrial moving and things like that. I just hope that we can, as a community, encourage industrial style businesses who are moving into a 50-50 industrial and commercial drive on a corner of a very busy intersection, someplace where we're trying to make a really good impression for the future of people who are trying to draw to live here and work here, that our corners, buildings look nice and are done right from the beginning, maybe, part stone, part metal. Seeing another all-metal building going up with not a whole lot of corporate exterior. It would just be a shame on a corner like that. So I understand that the wheel is in motion and, companies move in a direction because they have to and they can. I just wanted to state that we're very invested into the appeal of Mill Creek and Erie. We believe in it. We have a vision for the 15th to 16th Street corridor that we can do something about. I'm not asking for other people to do it for us, but let's not continue to move forward and make perhaps styling mistakes we might regret in the future if we can do anything about it. Just wanted to state that here so you guys know where I'm at. But thanks for hearing me out.
Is there anybody else? All right. Moving on. For the property to be classified MU1 neighborhood mix. Somebody here to speak on that?
Good evening, folks. My name is Mark Graham. I have Bay City Realtors. My son and I own the property at 4855 Westlake Road under an LLC. We're here tonight to respectfully ask your committee to recommend to the supervisors to change our zoning to MU, is it, I believe, to continue forward with the development of that corner. Just a little bit of history. When we purchased the property, it was Zone B business. And I didn't know it was changed until I met with Matthew sometime in the summer of '25. I was never notified. Maybe by my mistake, I didn't pay attention, I don't know. But a little bit of history on Bay City. I used to own the corner of 12th and Linden, northeast corner. I had owned it since '86, had rented it to Subway and then to Papa John's, and then I developed the corner to house Bay City Realtors. Well, in doing so, when Papa John's moved out, I had the opportunity to sell the property. And so I took upon that because I was scaling down and just doing a lot of real estate appraisals, as my friend Doug Prozan knows me from the history. I needed another location to move Bay City and come across 4855 Westlake Road that was for sale and was Zone B business. It was perfect, just a swap of locations, scaled down for me. I subsequently bought the location, fixed it up, and I have Bay City Realtors in there right now. And it just brings me here tonight to ask that, and I'm here because of Mr. Haller, who owns the side building, or side property to me to the east, initiated a conversation that if I would participate in trying to ask to rezone it to multi-use. Actually then to get back to where I was. No disrespect to however the plan took place. I think it was a brushstroke, and our corner in that corridor is perfect business location for multi-uses. We would just like to go back to where we were. David has a great presentation. I'm here just stating my premise for being here. And, it's a funny matter that in our business as an appraiser, I have to determine the highest and best use of a property. To do so, location, everybody's heard that. So that's why I was there. I'm the second owner. The previous owner was a little gentleman, Italian gentleman that when I purchased it from him, he was 92. He had his barbershop in there. How he came to own it when he lived by where Serafini's was taken down for the thruway, the government moved him out there because it was zone business, I believe. I can't say that for sure. So across the street from my property and David's is a carpet business and a beer distributor. So we got business across the street, I have Mr. Haller beside me. I would just like to go back to where I was so I can further develop the corner. Maybe sell it, never know. So it really just in conclusion, and he'll give you a lot of statistics, I would respectfully ask you to suggest to the supervisors that you change my zoning so I can continue developing the corner. Plain and simple. Any questions? Pretty easy. Thank you.
Anybody else? Dave?
I mean, I made a presentation just to have you guys follow along, okay?
Let me, before you jump up there, go ahead and pass those out.
Yeah.
Let me read the next,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I jumped the gun.
Does everybody have one? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to fault you, sir.
Wait, do we have anybody, I'm mixing up here. Do we have anybody else to comment on the JMG investment before I flip over? Okay.
Hi, I'm Greg Tilberg. I'm a resident and owner of the property at 1631 Woodside Drive. I'm adjacent to both the Realtor there and David Haller. And I'm against both of those properties changing to the the mixed-use zoning. This is a quiet neighborhood. We have single-family dwellings all throughout this neighborhood. There's children in this neighborhood. There's a school bus stop that stops right outside the intersection there. And I'm afraid if you change that, you're going to have increased traffic. You know, I don't know if these guys are going to sell their properties or what they're going to do. And, you know, if something else moves in with a mixed use, anything can move in there. You know, a bar, you know, restaurant with a lot of business. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things. You go down through the mixed use list that I disagree. I think it should stay as a residential zoning. There's the other consideration there, you know, you got all the single-family dwellings that are back there. I'm concerned about the property values. If something bad moves in there, when it changes to mixed use, is it going to decrease our property values in that neighborhood? I mean, a lot of people don't want that. I've had some nuisance things from these businesses next to me that I've dealt with over the years. And I don't want to get into it. But I mean, on David Haller's property, he has a dumpster right on the corner. It butts right up to my lot. And this dumpster, sometimes the tenants that are in this building, they forget to close the lid or whatever. You get a windy day, the trash is blowing me up in my yard. I'm constantly picking the trash up, throwing it back in the dumpster. I've talked to a lot of the tenants there. You know, they're considerate and they make sure it gets closed. But there's times when it doesn't get closed, and it's also attracting animals in there that we don't want in the neighborhood: skunks, possums, crows. So, I mean, that's another reason you don't want a mixed-use development there. There's also a light that they have on this parking lot of David Haller's property. And it used to have a light in there. It was kind of, you know, like a yellowish, you know, type street light. It wasn't really bright. Well, it's been a few months now, and they changed it out to an LED light. And that thing, I tell you, is bright. It's like walking into a Walmart parking lot, and the light shines onto my property, and I can mow my grass at night. It's that bright. You know, we got light pollution now in our neighborhood. So if you change that to mixed use, are we going to have light pollution as well in our neighborhood? It's just not good to change a residential area into mixed use. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I have a question. Number one, have you ever discussed this light problem with Mr. Hallard?
No, this just recently happened. He changed it out a few months ago, and I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody.
And also, do you realize that if somebody bought these two properties and tore them down and put apartments there or something like that, you'd have a lot more traffic, more dumpsters, and it would be a heck of a lot worse.
Well, that's my concern. You know, if these people, the one property's up for sale right now, so if somebody comes and buys it and tears it down, puts in something totally different,
Yeah, but if it was, they're asking that it be made commercial, that couldn't happen if that was granted. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Look, if I could just clarify, Doug, they're seeking mixed-use MU1, which does allow for multifamily construction. Just to clarify.
it also allows a lot of, you know, commercial type stuff, you know, restaurants and you name it.
Well, right now, it's a non-conforming use, so it really wouldn't make any difference. This would be more, what they're asking for is to legitimize the use. I
Right,
guess, is
so
the
how
best way
did we get to
phrase it.
this point? How did the township have this zoned improperly?
I'm sorry, what?
How did we get to this point where this is zoned improperly?
I'll take some of the blame because I was part of that Embrace Mill Creek study and somehow we missed this whole thing, so.
But it was business prior.
Pardon?
It was business prior.
It was business,
And then it was
and how it got to be residential is beyond me, so I'll take some of the blame.
Okay, so what's the difference between business and mixed use? Why isn't it being rezoned to business instead of mixed use?
If I can make a suggestion, because Mr. Haller, just from skipping through this, is going to give a little bit of the history of the property. And so you're more than welcome to come back, but at least for, that we all have a similar sense of the history might be helpful for all of us, would be my suggestion.
Let's hear his presentation if we can, and then we'll come back at it again if you feel it's necessary.
Sure, thank you.
Anybody else have any comments? Sure. Sure.
In regards to property value, if anybody knows the corner that I took, and I cleaned it up, made it up into this day and century. So that gentleman is my rear neighbor, and I think, sir, I take care of my property quite well. Yes or no? It doesn't matter, he's not answering, but I do. Okay, I've made it better since I bought it. I put money into it. I've increased the value. That's the first thing you see when you turn up Woodside, is my property, and it presents itself very good. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, let's go on to the next one here. Andy Haller, go ahead. Well, I'm going to read this while you're coming up. For property located at 4845 West Lake Road, consisting of approximately .5032 acres, now zoned R1 single-family residence, asking for the property to be classified as MU1 neighborhood mixed use. Go ahead, Mr. Haller.
Yeah, thank you. You guys are doing a great job. I appreciate it. You know I do. I apologize for the second page. This must be the Planning Commission from some other Mill Creek Township. Disregard that. So I'm here tonight. My name is David Haller, David J. Haller. I used to be a builder. You guys may have known me. I live at 4241 Neptune Street, Erie, Pennsylvania. I'm here tonight to petition Mill Creek Township Planning Commission for their recommendation to rezone my property. I'm also here to support Mark Graham with his petition to rezone 4855 Westlake Road. I would like to start by giving you a definition of zoning anomaly. I've used this term before when I went before the zoning hearing board. And a zoning anomaly exists when the zoning classification of one or more parcels no longer reflects existing land use conditions. It's consistent with surrounding zoning and development pattern. It conflicts with the comprehensive plan. The results, it results from incremental corridor change rather than intentional planning. The location is on a major corridor. The residential zoning applied to corridor-facing parcel doesn't fit. Adjacent nearby commercial property is mixed use, and there's two contiguous parcels here that feel the same way. The requested amendment corrects the zoning anomaly created by the application of R1 residential to mixed use. We're not asking the township to create anything new. We're asking it to correct a situation that was once and no longer reflects what is there. A bit of housekeeping I entered this, I forgot to tell you, and that is, I am David Haller. My wife, Ann Haller, owns the property. And some listings show the building is 6,800 feet. It's actually 5,600 feet. So we're submitting this petition for the rezoning of the property, currently zoned R1, and we request MU1 neighbor mixed use. The building has existed over 50 years, has been used continuously for non-residential purposes. Offices are rented individually. Purpose of this request to amend the Mill Creek zoning map to reclassify these two contiguous parcels. We want to align with existing corridor conditions. We want to promote coordinated and controlled redevelopment. We want to advance the goals of the Mill Creek Comprehensive Plan. Maintain compatibility with surrounding residential neighborhoods. Again, just to repeat, I don't mean to be redundant. We request this to reclassify two continuous parcels. West side of Westlake Road. Actually, it is the south side of Westlake Road, from R1 to MU1. On the next page, you guys are going to find the timeline of the property, and I'm not going to go over that. You can read. But the building was built in 1974. It was sold in 81 to a office guy who was in the cable television business. In 1987, I bought it. In 2008, I have a certificate of approval that shows B business. All these zonings were B business, as you can see on the zoning. All of a sudden, in October 18th, 2025, I put my building up for sale, and I receive a rejection, or a person gave me a low ball figure and said, your building has a zoning problem. And I said, what do you mean it has a zoning problem? And it's at that time, I found out that it was zoned R1, and it had legal non-conforming use. And in fact, the official zoning certificate which I received, half the building, say 48% of the building, was zoned R1 and has a church in it, and 52% of the building is R1 residential, legal non-conforming use. Now, I want you to be a prospective buyer, and I want you to look at that. It's not fair. It doesn't make any sense to a building that looks like a building, acts like a building, has been this way since 1974. That's 50 years. So in December 3rd, I had a buyer. We sought a variance from the zoning hearing people, who graciously granted the variance. and they granted the variance for professional offices. That buyer, a month later, I believe, got freaked out by the zoning and withdrew her offer to buy the building. Therefore, that's why I'm here today, all right? So, you know, Westlake Road functions as a major arterial corridor, and the subject property is directly impacted by traffic volumes and all that, right? We're not requiring, I'm not going to read all this. My rezoning doesn't require any utilities. It doesn't generate any traffic, any more traffic. It doesn't increase any demand. There's no inverse impact. I repeat, it's been this way since 1974, and all of a sudden in 2022, the comprehensive plan, which I read cover to cover, never any mention about that specific area. This specific area, which involves this property, and these properties, were the ones affected. They were, and I'm going to show you a map here pretty quick. In fact, I'm going to show it to you next. There's a picture of the property. You've driven by it. You're in Mill Creek. And, you know, I got the zoning map around 1987 when I bought the place. B business. I picked up the zoning map around 2018, still was B business or whatever they called it in 2018. I don't know if it was still called B business then.
It would have been called C2 General Commercial.
Yeah, excuse me, thank you. And then there's the map after the comprehensive zoning plan. You can see that all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, we're R1 residential. Under a comprehensive plan, I understand the law. I know that they don't have to tell you, or they don't have to let me know, they don't have to do anything. But I found out 2 years, 3, 4 years later, that my property was rezoned. That's a zoning anomaly. That's what it is. Now, my proposed zoning is simply to take these two properties, right here, and make them what they used to be, business, which in modern zoningese is MU1, which is the recommendation that Matt gave me, okay? So there it is. Is this spot zoning? This is something that I figured might come up, so I'm going to nip it in the bud. And that is, this is not spot zoning. It affects two parcels, and we're both in the same boat. I agree with everything he said, and I support everything he said. If this petition is not granted, the makeup and value and marketability of that property will be jeopardized. And it'll still have offices. It'll still be the same. We've already experienced two situations where prospective buyers have backed out of their obligations. And this is why I'm here. So the zoning map amendment represents a reasonable, measured, and well-supported update to reflect current conditions, township planning goals. Request is not spot zoning, but rather a corridor consistent adjustment consistent with land use principles. And if I can take you on an imaginary tour down here to Vernondale, why didn't they get changed? They're in the same exact boat as I am. They have residential properties around them, and yet they're MU1, mixed use. So I feel a little bit discriminated against. And so I respectfully request a favorable recommendation from you guys, the Planning Commission, and I thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Can I respond to the gentleman, the neighbor who lives behind us? Sir, if you want to call me tomorrow, I will personally take you or change the lights if they're in your way, if they shine on your property, I will personally take care of that. No one called me. If I don't know what the problem is, I can't fix it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And if there's any other issues, I will address them immediately.
Thank you.
I've always got along with the neighbors.
Okay. Does anybody else have something to say here? Go ahead, Greg.
I don't know if you can zone these two properties something different, but I looked up what the MU, the mixed use can have. And you can put in a ghost kitchen, you can put in a health club, a medical marijuana dispensary, eating and drinking establishments, dancing studios. You know, these are all things that would disrupt a residential neighborhood. And I don't know, you know, who the future owner is going to be since this property is up for sale. If you change it to mixed use and they allow some of these, they want to tear the building down or put something else different in there, you know, it's going to affect the people in that neighborhood. So I want you to consider that. This is a residential neighborhood, and you're going to be allowing something like that that could possibly move in by changing the zoning. Thank you.
This is not in a residential neighborhood. It does, this gentleman's property is right behind us. And I don't know what it is. He's got it in for me. I don't know why. But this is on a corridor, just like these two guys. This is the same application as the properties down the street. What is it? The landscaping, what's his?
Gerlach's.
No, not Gerlach's.
No. Stands.
Yeah, Stan's Garden Center, Teresa's Delicatessen,
The beer distributor,
yeah.
tile company.
This is not something that is going to impact the neighborhood. The neighborhood there's probably, it works the way it is, and it's always going to work. And people who are inquiring are talking about offices. They're talking about quiet items. They're not talking about marijuana dispensaries. It's not the proper place for a retail establishment. The reason it isn't is because people are driving down this street trying to negotiate this curve, and they don't even know I'm here. They see the beer distributor because it's on that side of the street, but they don't know I'm here. I've often had to explain to people where we are. So I appreciate the gentleman's concerns, but I feel they're unfounded.
Do we have anybody else? All right. At this time, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Okay, thank you. All right. At this time, we'd like to close the meeting up. All issues have been discussed, and we will now take a few-minute break before deliberation. You are welcome to stay for this portion of the meeting, but no further discussion will be accepted.
Oops.
The recommendation of the commission will be available to all concerned parties after 8 a.m. tomorrow by calling the Township Planning and Development. All right? Do we need a break or just hit it? Let's hit it. All right, let's go to the first one here. Okay, the land development plan for KDP Lot 2. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to accept.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anybody not approve? Nope. All right. Let's move on to the second one. Do I have to hit the- use my hammer?
That's what I used to, always use it was at the end.
Okay, all right, okay. Let's move on to the next one. Land development plan for Purvis Industries. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Now we're going to move on to the rezoning, JMG. Can we do these together? We should do them separately, right?
Separate.
Separately? Yeah. Okay. JMG 2 Investment Properties LLC. Do we have motion or discussion on these?
I'd like to discuss it. First of all, I want to apologize because I don't know how this happened, okay? So I'm sorry, but, and I would, and my feeling is I'd like to clean this whole thing up and get it back to where it's supposed to have been so that it can be commercial, as well as those properties across the street, okay? I think so that it's not an anomaly.
We did talk, well, go ahead, I don't know. We did talk
Okay.
to people across the street,
Well,
but they didn't want to get involved.
okay. Well, my feeling is that we should undo an injustice and put it back to the way it was, both sides of that street. Now, I'm not talking about that, what I'm going to call triangle to the west of on the north side. Yeah, leave that as it is, because I doubt if it's going to be anything else, but it could be a park or something the township could use. But I'd like to, as I said, clean it up or undo a mistake that I feel that we made. So my recommendation would be these, what, 5 properties it is, right?
Well, we just have to deal with the one before us right now.
No, we can make a recommendation.
Well, I think that would be a separate one, separate from the
No,
petition.
No, I don't think so. I think we should recommend to the supervisors that those properties be rezoned so that they're commercial.
I got a question for him also.
Dave?
You said you talked to the people who own the odd-shaped, you've talked to them, and you said they didn't want to get involved. Are they receptive to doing, changing the zoning on their property?
Yes, they are. They're in the midst of talking to and trying to obtain a liquor license. And
It's for a beer distributor, not a liquor
he just
license.
didn't want to, quote unquote, muddy the waters at this time. He's with us. He was supposed to be here tonight, but he's getting ready for a Greek festival thing down at the Greek church.
Well, I also talked to him, so I
Did
can
you?
confirm what you're saying. It's
You
not a
agree
liquor,
with what I'm saying?
yeah, it's not a liquor license like for a bar.
No, it's a beer distributor.
It was a beer,
Same thing it's always been.
it was a beer distributor for years.
To have one thing, so David talked to him, he didn't know the zoning was changed either.
No, he didn't, he's in the same boat I am.
Well, again, I can only apologize so many times.
Don't you, that's enough for me.
Does anybody else on the, go ahead, Ray.
Mr. Chair, I believe tonight you have a full commission, and I'm an alternate, I don't get to vote tonight. However, I believe it's my purview to be involved in discussion.
Absolutely.
So I have a question for Mr. Puz. If this zoning is changed in 2026, does it become obligated to abide by the ordinances that are in effect in 2026? Specifically, lighting restrictions of commercial property abutting private property, buffer zones and plantings that are in the present ordinances, of commercial properties that abut residential properties. So the question is, if the zoning is changed in 2026, are they obligated then to the ordinances that are in effect for that property in 2026?
You cannot retroactively enforce a zoning ordinance. So if the zoning the zoning classification's changed, we cannot retroactively go back and apply buffer requirements, parking requirements, et cetera. Now, regarding lighting, that's a separate issue because then if it's posing a health safety issue, that would override any nonconformities established by a change in the ordinance.
So, Mr. Howard, let me ask you this. I have to compliment you on your statement that, hey, listen, I'll take personal responsibility and change that lighting, because that's important to a resident. I'm a resident in Mill Creek, and I bought a business property that changed their lighting, and it affected into our neighborhood. And Mr. Puz took affirmative action to make sure that that stopped, and we were very appreciative as residents. But you've already offered to do that on your own.
Yes, sir.
Would you also offer, if this is changed, to abide by the buffer zones that are present? The buffer zones between commercial property and residential property require plantings to have a visual block of a commercial property from the residential property. Would you also be willing, both of you gentlemen, would you be willing to follow the ordinances that are in effect today for business properties that abut residential properties? And I don't think it steps too far away from the offer that you already made here. So I'd ask that question.
Well, it's really not possible. Does a buffer zone equal about 7 feet? What's a buffer zone? How wide is a buffer zone?
It depends on the type of that's required. I believe that if it's a residential abutting a commercial, that's a buffer C, which is, I'm sorry, not buffer C, buffer B, which is 20 foot.
You know,
Along it would take away half of my parking. My parking lot goes within 1 foot of all the property lines, all 3 property lines.
and legally, we can't do this. We can't consider this right now, because you can't retroactively go after.
Correct. And
So it's kind of moot.
This
Yeah.
isn't intended to create a hardship for you, so the lighting is important.
I'm not gonna, I don't wanna make any neighbor suffer because of my lighting. I'll turn the lighting off. If that's what you require, I'll turn it off tomorrow.
But I don't think we can require
I
it.
would be glad to redirect it so that it shines only on and it's only for the safety of my people at night. That's all it's for.
Yeah, we can't require you. I was just asking the question because you had already offered to change the lighting, and I compliment you on that.
Because of the geography of
Okay.
the site.
I wasn't familiar with the back of the line, but the lighting situation is something you personally have already said that you would take care of.
You heard my offer, it's on the public record.
Does anybody else have any comments on the board here?
So I guess to know what we're voting on, I guess, actually, we don't have a motion officially.
And we're going to do 2 separate motions.
Okay.
So this would be the motion for the JMG first, and we should make a motion, but that motion that Doug had mentioned can mention other properties. I'll let you make the motion the way you want to, but we can make a suggestion to the supervisors that we think that, if I'm reading Doug correctly, that this MU1 should also kind of go across the street. It got screwed up by the master plan.
That's my intention.
Yeah, but we would say, this property, I'm going to let you make the motion.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
any more discussion?
Well, so I guess I have a couple of comments. I would prefer to deal with these individually and then for looking at other properties separately. I think that would be a cleaner motion versus to deal with what has been presented to us, and then if we're looking to expand it, that could be separate when it might make it cleaner. So to speak to the resident, this is really always a challenging situation. I think there are always these fluctuation points as things develop. I think about, the one I always think of is Kuntz Road at the mall, when people build houses there and then the mall gets built and things change radically. So it's a difficult, I think, question. And I think you make a good point. When I was first married, my wife and I lived in Shaker Heights, Ohio, if you're not familiar with that, a planned community. You started off with a blank slate, and it turned out a beautiful community. Mill Creek did not develop that way. So we have these challenges. Westlake is a very mixed site. I think the intent, and I was not on the commission at the time, so I don't need to apologize. in terms of decisions, but I think the intent at that point was to say, maybe in Mill Creek, we have enough space designated commercial, and so maybe to kind of preserve some residential. That being said, I think it's also very important to not limit people's ability to be able to sell their houses. So for example, sometimes when a site becomes, for lack of a better word, not marketable, that is a residential property, and someone says, geez, someone will buy it for commercial, but no one's going to buy it because the traffic is so bad, I think this board has to look at those kinds of questions. So for this, I am not in favor of changing the zoning for the rest of that portion of Westlake Road. However, in your two situations, I think the best is to the MU classification, I believe MU1, because it would severely limit your ability to sell. And I think it has enough limitations that anything can happen. You know, that's always the challenge. And I guess I would say to residents is, you know, you bought a property and it's been a commercial property. So, you know, you make those decisions and it's always that challenge, just like you don't know when someone buys the house next to you, how they're going to behave even if it's residential. So these are some of the challenges of investing in property, but I certainly think it is very reasonable. And I think if there was ever a major rezoning again, I would encourage supervisors to communicate to everyone who is impacted to give them a chance to comment about it. And I think that was unfortunate that it changed, and unless you were paying very close attention, you would not have known. My comments.
It's safe to assume that all property owners that were being affected by the changes in the township were notified,
No.
or is that not true?
No, per the municipality's planning code, comprehensive rezoning does not require notification. It's advertised in the papers. We had several open houses regarding it, but there was no official invitation sent to property owners.
Yeah, if I could just clarify what Matt said, it does not, it specifically says that you are not required to notify each individual property owner like we do for a rezoning like this. We are required to notify all of the adjoining property owners, but the rezoning process was a several-year process where we had multiple, you know, a half dozen or more public meetings on it, so it wasn't like it was just done in the dead of night.
Well, I remember at the time, some people coming around and wanting to talk about their properties and so on, but if people weren't paying attention to what was going on in the township, which is, I'm one of them at that time, I guess, I could see where it could fall, or something could happen like that, and you never knew about it, you know? Yeah.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, 2 points. One, I talked to the property owner across the street today. So I don't know if that's notice or not, but they're in favor of
Yeah.
this rezoning. So I guess they've been notified. Secondly, if you think these two properties, you'd question whether or not, or the ones across the street could be residential. They're more commercial than these two. So,
I concur with that. I think it's more going down the
okay,
other
well,
way.
just to, because that's how I think the way you said it anyways. So to me, whether we vote on them individually or not, both votes or recommendations, whatever you want to call it, I think should call for all 5 of these properties to get back to where they were, because they're never going to be residential. And they're certainly commercial in every respect.
Can I have a motion from you?
Yeah, do you want them separately?
We have to do them separately,
Okay,
so let's.
so what's the first one, 45?
JMG2 Investments, a motion on that one.
Okay, I move that it be rezoned as we've spoken alongside, as well as the ones across the street. I don't know if that's the correct verbiage, but.
can we say that we would like to have this zone MU1, and that we would like the supervisors to consider across the
Yeah.
street?
That would be good.
That's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Consider it was too big of a word for him.
All right, can we, Denise, can we?
You
can we
need a
have
second.
Dave- Can
You
we
need
have
a
Dave?
second.
Second.
Yeah, so we're speaking about five properties, like where, yeah, as part of the motion, we need to identify exactly what we're recommending to the supervisor be,
Which five properties?
yeah. You said five
I
properties.
don't know the exact addresses of the three.
Is it three?
Well,
Great.
I think it's just
four.
Well,
In this
no,
case,
one, two.
And three, that's it.
Is that east triangle 3 parcels?
No,
or
it's
2?
just one.
Just one.
That's just a single.
Okay, so
so I'm sorry, then it would be 2 parcels, I guess. For
three. Oh, we have to do them individually.
We're doing them individually, so I recommend this would be rezoned to MU1, as well as we recommend the supervisors to consider doing the same across the street.
In the
In the triangle, whatever.
east triangle.
That parcel address is 4850 Westlake Road. I think that would help.
What?
4850 Westlake Road. I think that would help with your motion.
4845 and 4850 Westlake Road.
Do we have a second?
Wait, hang on a second. Well, okay, get your second first then.
Do we have a second?
I did second that.
Okay.
Okay. Can we do that to that property across the street without the owner being,
The township, I apologize, the township does have the authority, as is a legislative action, to rezone at their own purview. However, we would have to begin the process from the beginning. There would be another hearing, another meeting in front of the planning commission. Board of Supervisors would have a hearing. We'd have to notify the neighbors as well as post the property. So
It's nice because by making that statement, if the guy wants to do it, he knows we're in favor of it. But this will stand alone, saying that JMG2, Doug made the motion to zone it MU1, stand alone, but we'd like to see that thing if they want to do it also.
is that,
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I think
If we
that's what
tie
I
in,
meant.
if we tie in the recommendation of the properties across the street, and they have to go through the process to get that rezoned,
No.
does that tie up this
No.
No,
particular
they
motion?
don't. He
We're
just
making it
said they
separate.
don't
Yeah,
have to.
this is separate.
The
We're just
township
making a
can-
recommendation. So we're agreeing that we would like to make the rezoning of JMG Investments to MU1 and recommend that the supervisors consider the east triangle across the street, which we gave the addresses to be the same.
And the township can unilaterally do that. They don't need him to make an application.
I just didn't want to tie up.
I will say, I'm sorry,
It's separate.
I don't want to speak for the Board of Supervisors, but I don't think that would necessarily be something they would just initiate on their own, a rezoning.
Say that again?
You want to do just this and let those people.
Well, what I'm saying is, I don't think the township would initiate a rezoning on one property. I can't speak for the Board of Supervisors.
Even if we recommend it?
I mean, you can recommend it, I just don't know if they'll act on that type of recommendation.
Okay, so.
Can I make a suggestion then?
I want to keep
That
the
we
motion.
just take care of these 2 properties here, and you talk to the guy that owns the
No,
triangle
no,
across the
you
road
don't.
there, and
No,
let him
that-
come back to us.
No, that's
Down the
not
road.
what the motion is.
We
And-
have a motion.
Your
we have a
motion
second.
is, wait, your motion is too convoluted, you have to restate it.
Yeah.
Because it was, what you stated was seconded, we never voted on it, so you gotta clarify what you said.
I recommend that we rezone 4845
4855 Westlake Road.
JMG2 investment property.
Well, I thought you wanted to do them separately.
We are.
Okay.
That's the first
So
one
the
we're gonna do.
first one is what, 45?
4855.
okay, I'm sorry, 4855 Westlake Road, to MU1 neighborhood mixed use, and recommend that the supervisors consider doing the same across the street at 50, what is it? 4550? 4850.
Yeah, 4850.
Hey, Doug, how about if we do this? How about if you make a motion to approve the first thing? You make a motion to approve the second thing, then you make an additional comment as the third thing.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Very good.
All right,
That's what I said earlier.
okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let's start all over.
Okay.
Okay,
Across the street twice.
I move that we recommend to the supervisors to rezone 4855 West Ridge Road.
All right, and I will second that.
Westlake,
West, what did I say?
West Ridge.
Westlake Road.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's make this one easier.
And I'll make a motion that we recommend the approval of 4845 Westlake Road to change to the MU1 neighborhood mixed use.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right,
And now you can make your motion for the recommendation.
I also move that we recommend to the supervisors that the property at 4850 Westlake Road also be rezoned so that
MU1.
uniformity exists and it undoes, and it will undo the, in my opinion, the error that was previously made.
May need.
That was a long motion.
Sorry. Is that too long?
Do we have a second?
Is there a
I'll
second?
second that.
Thank you.
Is it a comment?
All in
a suggestion,
favor?
or a motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Never mind.
All right,
In that recommendation, make sure that Doug said it was his fault twice.
all right. Hey, and then, let's finish up here by,
Adjourn.
wait, do we have any deliberation, old business, new business, nothing?
Thanks for
Okay,
splitting me.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Finally, you got it.